I'm going to turn it over to Adam and let him talk to us a little bit about this elusive elevation certificate and what that process looks like.
Again, my name's Adam D. Hart with Keeler Webb Associates. Is that better? Yeah. Sorry, I'm used to working from a lectern. With me here also today is Chuck Nye, one of our professional engineers from Keeler Webb Associates. And then as far as what we've handed out to you, I believe each table has a company brochure and some business cards, which I have more of up here that can be available to you and your clients. The onslaught of the people that have been calling us with questions so far, because nobody's got their new mortgage payment book to find out their rates skyrocketed, have been the insurance companies and the actual insurers who are providing the policy, who expect to be inundated with calls from the individual property owners. We're probably going to end up working for the individual property owners, so we're going to see a large increase in business just by the sheer numbers of work coming in. Also, one of the things we passed out, because I know sometimes it's hard for those to read in the back of the room, and just for your own edification, was a current copy of the guts of the flood elevation certificate. I passed out a couple of those around to each table so you can see what one actually looks like. And then the last thing that I passed around was our introduction letter that we are working with insurance companies to introduce our business and what kind of service we can provide for the individual homeowners. Second page to that is a cost breakdown on just exactly what the $550 gets you and any other issues that we might be running into, so that we can come up with a fair price to provide the service, but still cover our time in the effort to take care of the person's individual problem. The elevation certificates are going to be just like a survey. Every house, every condition, no matter how much it looks alike, is going to be different. The land in the United States is just like a fingerprint. Everybody's unique. Surveyors themselves, some people know what we do, some people don't. This is something that we are an expert at because we're experts at measurement and reducing errors and understanding all the governmentese, understanding what the insurance companies are looking at as far as what the risks and the concerns are for the loss, to come up with just the facts. We cannot change numbers, we cannot recreate the wheel, we certainly cannot make any adjustments for what Mother Nature does. But what we are providing is the best information available to us on the base flood elevation, which is either going to come from the maps, it's going to come from local authorities, or if you have the know-how and the expertise to find the information that DNR is making easier to get a hold of, but it's still research and you have to understand all the government acronyms and what the difference is between floodway and flood fringe and floodplain. And FEMA does a good job about every 10 years of changing the terminology. So those of us that have been in the business for a while, what we thought was something is now called something else. Some of the factors that can affect our pricing, this is something that we have to coordinate key holder access. A lot of what we do, unless it's a built on slab foundation, which may be prevalent in some of your more modern homes in the tract subdivisions. Everybody else has mechanical equipment in the basement, or they're built on a basement or a crawl space. We have to have access to those. So the surveyors are going to be crawling around inside the building and underneath the buildings to make some measurements on top of just making our measurements on the outside. One of the key factors on the way FEMA looks at the elevations now is something that impacts things more than what they used to be. It used to be a period of years ago, the elevation that we were looking for was, and what the insurance companies were insuring, was 2 feet above base flood elevation. So let's say, for instance, your flood elevation is 100 feet. If you built your home at 102 feet or higher, you should be in good shape. That was kind of the industry standard. Well, now that industry standard and requirements from FEMA is 3 feet above the lowest adjacent grade, which is a big long terminology. I don't expect you to understand it. That's my problem. But the short of it is, the dirt grade on the outside of the house, you have to be 3 feet above that. Obviously, the dirt grade compared to where your elevation of your house, on many houses, particularly walkout basements, is a major issue. You know, your distance just didn't change a foot, it could have changed 12 feet, realistically speaking. We're just gonna have to see what happens. Those of us that are left in my industry, there's only 1,200 registered surveyors in the state of Indiana, only about half of those work in the private industry that would work on this type of a situation. There's fewer of us. Those of us that are left around after the economic turndown, there's even fewer of us still that are still in business. If this is a lot of work, there could be major delays in actually providing this work done. Most of my constituents in my business try to be as fair as possible we can to people. You take care of those big clients, but a lot of what you do, just to be fair, is first come, first serve. And that's just the fact. You may see increase in rates in order to get work done. That's not our policy at our business, but it's something that you might see from the industry wide if you're calling around checking on quotes. As far as the certificate itself is concerned, I had a couple things that I wanted to mention which come straight from the instructions on how to fill out the elevation certificate. And the very first item you want to take a look at, and then one of the most important things, is the date. There's a lot of older elevation certificates out there floating around. And just like FEMA and our government, like they like to do, and keep everybody on their toes, this form changes every 2 years. There is no notification to that. Now, the good news is these forms are all available on the government website. So our policy is, even if it was last week, you go to the government website to copy it. You don't copy it from your file or out of your computer or whatever you downloaded last month. That's the most important thing to worry about, because that'll be the first thing that the insurance company and all the bean counters look at to reject the form or take the form. The purpose of the elevation certificate is to provide the information so that both the insurance company and FEMA can take a look at the floodplain and make a determination on what the true situation is. And what we're looking for is the relationship between the base flood elevation, and I suppose a lot of people don't know what that is in the room. Base flood elevation, this is the new modern definition of that, is the 1% chance it takes for rain to get to that elevation for a 100-year event. It's what everybody used to call a 100-year storm, to make it simple. The maps and the funky lines that they draw on the FEMA maps, the gray areas that are in the floodplain, that's to what everybody used to talk about, the 100-year storm. Now, the second thing that the elevation certificate is used for is the difference between the elevation that we're going to call at that house and its relation to the base flood elevation. Whether that difference be a foot above, 3 feet above, 2.5 feet below. And that number is critical to the insurance folks because their rate maps are on a sliding scale, like she showed you on that demonstration. The guy that's 4 foot above is in good shape. He doesn't have to pay much. The guy that's at has to pay quite a bit. The guy that's way below has to pay a whole lot. It is a sliding scale, and it's very fair. It's not a perfect line, and they can go into that with you when you're trying to estimate your quotes, but that's the gist of it.